energy. Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Friday before the Steelers game.
Yes,
Is there anything
indeed.
better? Is there anything better?
Well, if the Browns were in contention, that would be better. You know?
You know what's crazy is that they haven't swept the series since 1988.
That's right. They haven't, and
That's unbelievable.
and they have a chance to have their first 3-game winning streak against the Steelers since '89.
I'm going to ask something that I'm going to immediately regret.
Yep.
Mike and Anthony, were you guys alive in 1988?
No.
You already know the answer.
No
Nope.
way.
No.
Neither one of them.
No.
I'm
In
sorry.
They're
fact,
babies.
in
They're
fact,
in their
Bernie,
20s.
I believe from like '85 to '89, Bernie won, I think, 7 in a row.
Jeez.
Or the Browns won 7 in a row. I can't remember if Bernie was quarterback for all
He
of
wasn't
those
there in
games.
'85.
Right. But
Wow.
he won 7, or they won 7 in a row against the Steelers. If you take out that 7-game winning streak, they have never won more than 2 games since the '60s.
In a row.
In a row.
Man. And you know, there was a time when the Steelers were awful.
Right.
It's not recent memory.
No.
It's ancient
Mark Malone?
history.
The Mark Malone years?
I'm saying
Well, like
even
in the
before that, like
60s,
even
yeah.
before
Way
Chuck
back, way
Noll.
back.
Before
Yeah,
Chuck
yeah,
Noll, they
yeah.
were
They were dreadful.
notoriously
Yes.
awful.
Yes.
Right. And then since then, they were bad for a little bit in the '80s. That was it.
For
They
a
were-
minute.
Yeah, for a few years.
They've never had a prolonged stretch
No.
of suckiness.
No.
Like the
And the Browns have lost
had.
20 in a row in the regular season in Pittsburgh.
Oh my goodness.
So all those streaks
Yeah.
on the line this weekend.
Yeah, maybe it ends Sunday. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the Cavs last night. Talk about the Guardians. There's some rumors going out that 2 of the Guardians' biggest contributors, particularly in October for one and the regular
Yeah.
season for another, are on the block or could be had if the price was right.
yes.
And when you consider the source on it, you know, Kenny's rarely wrong.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
we'll dive into that. Lot to get into today. We do 90 minutes here, and then at 12:30 we flip over to WKYC. If you don't have the WKYC Plus app and you're outside the market, you can't watch us on WKYC here in the Cleveland area, download the app, WKYC Plus, and you can watch us stream there from 12:30 to 1. I believe you can watch us there every day.
You
Am I
can.
right, Mike?
Every day. Yep.
Every day. So if you're out of market and you'd like to watch on something other than your phone or your laptop, you can put the app on your smart TV, and you're good to go. You can watch us on your big screen every single day.
That's right.
Other than that, McNuggets, it's time to roll, right?
Yeah, before we dive into the Browns, and we're going to talk about the Cavaliers' win over the Nuggets in a little bit, but Bull yesterday, for the first time since pre-COVID,
Yeah.
made his way to a game. And Bull, I want you to give the
Really?
people a little bit of your experience, and let's share some insights into a very, very interesting conversation you had with somebody pretty high up in the Cavs organization last night.
Yeah, I would tell you, it was a great experience. I had a lot of fun being at the game. Mike's right. I haven't been at a game since COVID.
Was there a reason for that? You just
Just
didn't go
for whatever reason.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Yeah, I mean,
I couldn't get him tickets when he texted me and asked me.
that's
for tickets.
probably true.
That's why I didn't
Yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah.
That's why I didn't go.
Okay.
I think at first with COVID, with everything my wife was going through, we were being over the
Very
top
careful, as you should.
In the last couple of years, it's just been no particular reason. But I wanted to go, especially because I wanted to kind of feel the atmosphere of the crowd and have that experience.
It's different
And-
when you go, isn't it?
Absolutely. First of all, so we get there, and Mike and I go in through the media entrance, and I met Rachel Hill. Hill is her last name, right, Mike?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
She was so sweet. I don't know if you know Rachel.
I
You
know Rachel.
Rachel
Yeah,
has
you
been
do.
here, I believe,
Yeah.
with some of the Cavs promotions that we do upstairs, if I'm not mistaken.
She is awesome, and she does a show on Mondays on radio. Her and a woman named Kate Arth, who I know also. She goes by Cleveland Kate on Twitter, and they have like a woman's perspective on
the Cavs.
sports, and it's not just the Cavs.
What's her
they do
role?
all-
What's her position?
She's media.
No, she doesn't work for the
Okay,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
that's someone else.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of someone with the Cavs that has come here a number of times when we do.
No.
Yeah, no, she's
cross-promotion with
different.
them.
But
She's media.
Okay,
But
yeah,
anyway,
I don't know Rachel.
So Mike introduced me to her, and she was, because Mike's such a good athlete, he's going up and down stairs, and I'm like, I need to use the elevator. So Rachel was like my guide, because I hadn't been to the arena on a press pass even longer, like 6-7 years.
Wow.
I didn't remember, whatever, and things have changed. Anyway, so I just wanted to shout out her. I met so many fans. I mean, I can't even tell you how many people stopped to say hello.
You're in the heart of it there.
Absolutely. But then she and I went down to the court, right, before the game. And Mikey's already – first of all, Mikey McNuggets has been in Cleveland 2 years. Well, 2 years and change now, right? Have we been on?
Yeah,
over
2.5 years.
Yeah, 2.5 years. He's a bit – as my fellow religious – well, not religious, but fellow Jews would say, he's a big macha.
What does that mean?
That means a big shot.
I never heard of that.
Yeah. He's a big shot.
Well, because I think he goes to every game now, right?
He's at almost every game.
That's how
he's
you
not
do
a
it.
pariah like Jason down there.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
Well,
Friendly
we're
fire.
getting
I'm
there,
kidding.
Don't worry.
I'm kidding. But I already knew.
Jeez.
I'm kidding. I already knew Jason was a big shot. I didn't realize how ingrained Mike was. I mean,
Well, he goes to every game.
and honestly, he's extremely well respected. All jokes aside, extremely well respected. Like the people there really respect his knowledge of basketball as they should. So Mike is talking to Kobe Altman down on the court.
Yeah.
First of all, I hadn't been down on the court in forever. And what you realize when you get down on the court, if you haven't been there
How
a
big
while
the
or
players
ever,
are.
the players just look ridiculously
I know.
tall. Like, obviously, they're tall on TV, but in person,
It's insane.
even guys like Darius, like there was some guy, I don't know, who's, I don't know what his position is, Mike, was he ball boy or something, who's like warming up.
He was warming up Tristan Thompson.
Right,
He's
warming up Tristan
6'7".
Thompson. And even that guy was huge. I don't know what his job is, but that guy was probably like 6'5", 6'6". Anyway, so Mike's talking to Kobe Altman, and I just walk over into the middle of their conversation, and Mike said I tapped Kobe on the shoulder. I don't think I don't.
He did confirmed. I promise you, he tapped just
I
mid
tapped him on the
conversation.
shoulder?
I believe
tapped
Mike.
Kobe on the
I
shoulder.
don't even remember
believe-
doing that.
Mike told me the story last night, and I cracked.
Wait, why did you tap him on the
I don't even remember tapping him on the shoulder.
You're out, pal.
Well,
No. He tapped him. Kobe turns around and goes,
Yeah.
"Kobe, I'm Adam the Bull. Nice to meet you." And Bull's still wearing gloves because we had just come from outside.
Yeah.
So he shakes Kobe's hand.
Yeah.
He's still wearing gloves.
Yeah.
And as I'm talking to Kobe, and I'll let Bull pick it up from here,
Yeah.
I see Bull coming, through the media tunnel out to
Yeah.
the court. And I'm pretty familiar with the security guards over there, and a lot of them watch the show. So shout out to the guys who watch the
Yeah.
show. And you can see that look on their faces, like, Bull's here. Like,
It's serious.
Yeah, all those guys.
not just serious, but this is the same guy who says the regular season doesn't matter and now has come around on it. And
Sure.
he's here in the flesh, and he got to meet all of them.
All
and
the security guards were
Yeah.
excited to meet me, and I was very nice.
No one threatened to throw you out. That's a plus.
Yeah. No. And so I apparently tapped Kobe on the shoulder. I said, I didn't know I assumed he knew who I was, but I'm never going to just know for
Yeah,
sure.
that's
So
safe.
he did, and we chatted there. And almost immediately, I told him a story which he didn't. I thought he would remember this, but he didn't. Because I can't even remember if I've told the story here, but there was one time I was on a plane. We were flying a plane to New York, and he happened to be on the same plane. He was a few rows ahead of me.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a long time ago, probably when he first got the GM job. And I got sick on the plane, and I was puking for the last half hour of the flight. So I'm recounting this story with him, and he's cracking up, but he said he didn't realize. I was like, he had to have realized, because it wasn't like now you get on a plane, it's packed.
Yeah.
But it used to be before
No,
COVID.
there'd be plenty of empty seats.
Right.
So you were causing a commotion.
Not on purpose.
No, but
yeah.
everybody, you think that
I
everybody on the
assumed
plane had
everybody.
to
He
know.
was sitting close enough that I assumed,
He had
would
no
have.
recollection. He had no idea.
He didn't
No idea.
remember that. He must not have
Not
known in
even
the moment.
remotely.
Because that's something you would remember. When someone throws up on a plane.
I've seen quite a few people puke on planes.
But they're memorable, right?
I mean-
it's almost like when you see someone throw
It's
up
not
on
like he's
TV.
gonna go, well,
that's memorable.
I've never seen that
That
until.
stands
I thought
out.
it would be a funny story. So anyway, but I'll tell you, I chatted with him for a while, Mike. Right?
Yeah, we talked to him for 5-10 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a very nice conversation.
Good. I'm glad to
I
hear
even
that.
said to him, I said, dude, I was ripping you this offseason. Right, Mike?
He said, "Kobe, I've talked a lot of shit about you, and you know what? So far this year, you proved me wrong."
Yeah.
Good.
I said that.
You got to fall on that sword. When
Hey,
you're
listen,
wrong, you're wrong.
you know,
say
the
it.
team's playing great. I'm happy.
Well, how did he take that, by the way?
No, he took it
Great.
He was
Kobe-
fine.
Kobe's very good in those
I know that
situations.
you've had some issues with Kobe, but I think Kobe, maybe he's thin-skinned or maybe whatever, like a little adverse to criticism.
They have to protect the organization.
I understand that. I barely know him, but from everything I've heard of him and the dealings that I've seen with him,
Yeah.
he seems to be incredibly professional. And we had talked a lot of crap about him.
Yeah.
Because we thought running it back to, I thought running
Yeah.
it back 2 years ago, with JB was a mistake. I just felt like the talent on the team had outgrown the coach.
Yeah.
And he came back, and then the way the season ends, they take the Celtics. I think they gave the Celtics the best series that they had last year.
Sure.
No, I don't know if that means they were the second best team.
With
but
a lot of injuries.
With a lot of
injuries. And then this year, he did make the coaching change, and the moves that he's made, and we talked about him throughout the season, he's made little turns of the screwdriver here and there. He hasn't done a lot, but it seems like everything he's done has come away with the Midas touch.
Yeah. One thing I did ask him, I said to him, there is no way you thought Ty Jerome was going to be this good.
What he said.
And he acknowledged that.
He laughed.
Yes, he did.
I mean, I'm glad he laughed because
he's like, I love the guy. We've wanted him for a while, but
he surprised the entire league.
Of course.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was nice to meet him. We had a good conversation.
And then the atmosphere for the game.
Atmosphere was great. The energy in the crowd was
everything
awesome.
You remembered? Because when you last went, it was right after LeBron had left.
Right.
And there was a lull there.
Oh, yeah. The energy was great. The music is annoying, but not as bad as I thought it would be. And I'm usually bothered by the music. But in the pregame, it's unbearable. It's even louder in the pregame.
You know,
it's awful.
In 1996 or 7, I went with the Ohio State basketball program to South Africa. And it was they wanted to bring modern agriculture techniques and basketball culture to the country because apartheid had just ended and Nelson Mandela really wanted to open it up. So we all went there. And I remember as the basketball team, we went to all the major cities in South Africa. We were there for 3 weeks. And every game that we went to, they were playing professional teams there. It was really interesting.
Yeah.
And then they were doing clinics during the day with universities and with open to the public. And the games all had club music pumping in the stadium. Now, that was completely foreign to the NBA at that time.
Sure.
And I remember the first game we were in, we were sitting next to some folks from South Africa. They were media as well. And we were sort of talking, and I said, what's with the club music while the game's going on?
Yeah, right,
at least in the NBA, they'll bring it down when the game starts. They said, oh, yeah, this is how we do it here. This is, and it's coming to the NBA, too. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, there's no way I will ever feel like I'm in a nightclub at an NBA game. And not too long after that, they just started with the pregame and all the intermissions. And it is very, very present.
It can be.
Cleveland is one of the loudest arenas.
I mean, it is.
And part of it is the fans, obviously. And part of it is manufactured.
Right.
Was it you? I think last night I was talking to him, and I said, if you only come to 1 or 2 games a year, it's great. It's a rock concert, and you have a great time, and the energy and everything is awesome. But if you're there 41 nights,
you better wear earplugs.
Yes, it can get a little.
It's like, oh,
it can get, but it was. I had a ball. I'm like, I want to go. I'm already looking at the schedule. I'm like, I might go to that Bucks game in a couple of weeks on a Friday. So
nice.
It was a lot of fun being there.
Glad you enjoyed it.
Cavs treated me very well, and the fans were. Every fan I met was awesome.
And we'll dive into the game coming up. We'll actually break down what happened. The Cavs, pretty convincing win over the Nuggets.
And then I showed you the back way out, so you
That's true.
Yeah. So we'll get to that in a second.
Which is good.
Secret exit,
We are going to start with the Browns today as they get ready to take on the Steelers this weekend. And as everyone knows, you can tackle all your NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if their first $5 bet wins. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to join today. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Guys, the Browns haven't swept the Steelers since the 1988 season. This year for the Browns has been a lost cause. We had playoff expectations. At least most of us did, Bo, before you correct me, because you didn't pick them to make the playoffs. However, no one thought they'd be 3-9, despite the lost season for the Browns. Would sweeping the Steelers for the first time since 1988 mean something still? Or, at this point, considering you're playing for a draft pick, is that not have the same weight it would in a normal season?
Go ahead.
I actually liken this to Ohio State, Michigan, in a lot of ways.
Winning. If you're Michigan.
You're Michigan in this sense.
Yes. Makes your season.
Yeah. Like Michigan, what was Jack Sawyer on the field screaming? Your season is over. We're going to play for a national championship. Your season is over.
Yeah.
It's kind of where the Browns are. Their season's over.
But it gives them individual bragging rights,
absolutely,
which in a rivalry is what you want.
If you can beat your division rival in a team, Cleveland-Pittsburgh rivalry is not anything what it was 40, 50 years ago. Like it's dead.
Yeah.
But
that's not dead, but
it's
it's
dead
not
on
what it
their
was.
side.
between the
But I
the
think-
fans bases may
Wait,
not
let me
like
ask
each
you
other,
this. Do
but
you
on the
think that
field.
it's nothing special for the Steelers?
I
don't
think
think
for,
so.
I think for
So
Steelers,
it's like playing the Raiders or the
No, I don't think that. But I think for Steelers, their fans, it means more against Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Well,
Absolutely.
I'll give you that,
Yeah.
100%.
And on the
but I still think it has meaning on both sides.
I
there's-
agree, but
there's
just
two
not
di-
as much as it used to.
But it's two different conversations.
Yeah.
It's fans and it's players.
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
The players, the rivalry is Baltimore.
Yeah.
The fans, it's probably still Cleveland, Pittsburgh because of the vicinity.
Sure,
and
I
everything
agree with
else.
that, yeah.
But
But
on the field, I don't think the Steelers, they tell you, like George Pickens, Cleveland is Cleveland.
Yep.
And Pickens saying, well, the weather played a factor. Like they don't fear the Browns.
And what was the line? Even the year that we beat them, I believe it was to go to the playoffs. Did somebody on the Steelers said it's just a bunch of gray faces over there?
I don't remember that comment.
The
But
Steelers have taken
the
so
year
many
the Browns
passive-aggressive shots at the Browns,
Yeah.
they all run together.
The Browns beat the Steelers to end the regular season
Yeah.
and then won the playoff
And then
game
won
the
the playoff
following
game.
week.
Yeah.
And Pittsburgh didn't really play anyone, right?
No.
No, they didn't.
And
And
they were
they started
collapsed.
hot and then
Yeah,
tailed
they
off
had
at
collapsed
the
at
end.
the end of the season.
The famous
Yeah.
shot I remember was just Roethlisberger sitting there with
Yeah.
his thoughts racing through his
Right,
head.
right.
Yeah.
You know, I think that for Pittsburgh, this game is so much more meaningful. There are three scenarios for the Browns. You can make the playoffs. Then it doesn't matter really what you do against Pittsburgh. You made the playoffs. So I don't care. It's like Ohio State is looking at it this year. Okay, claim your win, go home, stake your flag, whatever you want to do. We're going to play for a national championship while you guys will be going back to class. That's a pretty harsh reality. So I think there's three scenarios. One, you make the playoffs. You don't even care about what happens with Pittsburgh. Two, you miss the playoffs and you lose a critical game that kept you from the playoffs to Pittsburgh. That's gut-wrenching.
Yeah.
And then the other one is like what we have here. You win 4 or 5 games, but 2 of them are against Pittsburgh. Well, that's better than winning 4 or 5 games and splitting with your rival or losing both of them to your rival. It's something to cling on to, but by no means are they going to be staking a Browns flag at midfield if they beat the Steelers on Sunday.
No, I mean, and like if you think about the Michigan-Ohio State game this past week, if that game, like if this was the old system where it was 4 teams made the playoffs, well, they would have eliminated Ohio State, and that would have been even more meaningful.
Even bigger.
Right? Because they would have, all right, our season sucks. Well, now your season's useless.
You're right. Yeah.
Because you're out of it.
Enjoy your misery
Same
with
thing,
us.
like, yes, it would be cool to end all these, these ridiculous streaks against the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
And as a fan, you want to beat your rivals, even if the game doesn't really mean anything to your team. For the fans, it's meaningful. As a Browns fan, you want to beat the Steelers, even if your season sucks. However, if this game, like if the Steelers lose, they're still probably going to the playoffs.
Yes.
I mean, it's not set in stone.
Just
but,
about. It's almost set in stone.
It's close.
Yeah, they're very close to it
So
clinching.
you're not ending their season, but it still irks you.
You could probably say you take them out of the running for home field and the one seed, which is the bye. So,
but it doesn't
would be
even
meaningful.
it doesn't even kill them in their division because they're a game and a half up on Baltimore right now.
I'm wondering if I watch it differently. I've watched most of this season. Like you, I did not think they were going to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
I've watched this season in a different way than I've ever watched them before. Far less, I'm not screaming at the TV on a second or a third down miss in the second quarter. Whatever. I also find that there's a silver lining to losing. And because of that, I talk myself into, I do the mental gymnastics.
Yeah.
When we lost to the Chargers, I was like, okay.
Better draft pick.
So you can actually win by losing. And because of that scenario, I don't want to lose Sunday.
Sure.
I want to drill the Steelers. But if it ends up with a loss, the way I make it acceptable to me so I can immediately pick my life up at 4:01 on Sunday and do whatever else I want to do, it's just like, okay, so what? We just improved our draft.
That's right. And you haven't had that the last 3 years.
That's right.
And yes, like during the game, you always want your team to win.
Yes.
We all know in our brains that it's better for the Browns to lose games. But when you're watching the game, you can't sit there rooting against your team.
No, I
But
can't.
as soon as it's over, yes. It's over. Okay, especially a game like last week where you're like, wow, Jameis played really well. The team overall played pretty well, and we lost. So in the end, it's not that bad.
I'm guessing it was a similar situation for you on Sunday when your Bengals lost to the Steelers. That's a rivalry too.
I still felt like the Bengals could make the playoffs if they won last week.
So for you, that was the end.
That was the end because they had the Bengals have 3 straight
Winnable games
against pretty bad teams.
Yeah,
So I was like, if they win this, they could easily win 3 in a row, and now all of a sudden they're 8-8 going into the last game.
Maybe.
And one of those wins would have been over the Broncos, so they would have had a chance to make the playoffs.
Okay,
So.
that's interesting.
But now, yes, I'm thinking the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you got to find whatever silver lining you can to get you to tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just been one of those years. And you'd look back on it and you'd say, wow, how does this team beat Baltimore and the Steelers twice and only win 2 other games? That's almost impossible to figure.
Swept by the NFC East.
Yes.
They don't play all the teams in the South.
Well, in the West so far, they've lost to the Raiders. They've lost to the Broncos.
Right.
They'll
They still
likely
got the
lose to
Chiefs.
the Chiefs.
Lost to the Chargers.
And lost to the
Lost
Chargers.
to the Chargers.
So they can
Now,
be
to be
swept by
fair,
the AFC West and the NFC.
Those
West.
are
Good Lord.
outside of the last place teams, the Raiders and the Giants. Both those divisions are good this year. The other 3 teams in those divisions are really good teams.
Sure. Very good, I think.
But it is something I'd love to talk about with Kevin Stefanski because he's been great in the division.
Yes.
He has.
By
Got a winning
far
record.
better than any Browns
He's
coach
got-
in forever.
he's got a winning
but
record.
outside of the division, he's been bad.
And everyone, you know the adage, well, if you want to have playoff hope, you better
Right.
do well in the division.
And the Browns
those
are like-
games count for 2, and they win. They do well in the division.
Mike, do you have the Browns division record under Kevin Stefanski?
I'll do it real quick. They're 2-1 this year.
It's like 33-30, I think.
We'll go through it real quick.
Okay.
They were
I've got it
2-1 this
somewhere.
He
year.
is now sub 500 as the Browns coach overall, right?
No, he's 40-39. One
Oh,
game
okay.
over.
So he's
So-
one game from being 500.
So they're 2-1 this year. They were
Yeah.
3-3 last year.
That's 5-4.
In 2022, they were 3-3.
Wow.
That's
8
8 and 7.
So he's about 500.
In 2021, they were 3-3,
11-10.
and in 2020, they were 3-3.
Wow.
14-13.
He seemingly goes 3
Well,
and 3
that's
every
definitely
year.
33-30. I don't know where I got
Yeah,
that from.
14-13. But still, in this division, I mean,
Yeah.
think about it. Since he's been here, the Ravens have been good every year. The Steelers have been good every year. And the Bengals have been good every year except for 2020. So
And this year.
Well, yeah, and this year. But the Bengals still not like they're not bad. You know, they're normal.
No.
They're just having a
They
you know,
weren't
whatever.
there 2 and 14.
Overall,
bad.
this division's like considering he's a 500 coach overall, and the fact that he has he's a game over 500 in the division,
Yeah, it's weird.
and then 500 out of the division. It's just
Jay,
it
do
is-
you think that there's a big game that he does well getting his teams up for these big games, but not so much the other ones? Because your winning percentage, I think, should be better outside of your division when you're playing in a division that is so stacked.
In the NFL, if you're above 500, you're doing a good job. That's how I look at it. Like,
Yeah, I do too, especially if the body of work is 5 years.
yeah, like he's a little bit under probably where he should be, but I mean, my God, has he had one quarterback for an entire season and the entire time he's been here?
Baker in his last
in
year.
2020
I mean, he missed some time because of the injury, but not
I mean,
much.
he had Baker for all of 2020, and then he
Yeah.
gets hurt
Yeah.
in 21, and then you've got the carousel of the last.
And
3
it
years.
hasn't been a steady guy since.
I mean, Baker in 2020 was the only quarterback to play the whole season for the Browns in forever.
Yeah. But I just when you look at him, like he's won with a lot of different quarterbacks who aren't very good.
The frustration, if you're a fan, and I get it. The frustration is that when he's had good seasons, the follow-up seasons have been huge disappointments.
yeah, he seems to checkerboard.
Yeah. And ultimately,
If you're going to be elite, you have to maintain a level of consistency,
Like the Steelers do.
Yeah,
like the
absolutely.
Steelers don't have that sub 500
No.
team.
Right.
Ever.
No.
but also Tomlin won a Super Bowl early in his career. Now I know he has
Sure.
that buys you a lot longer goodwill there. So
Yeah,
factors
you
in,
definitely have some equity when you win early
Yeah.
as a head coach. It certainly helps. We talked about this Wednesday when Aditi was on, but
Yeah.
there are still Steelers fans. They're in minority and they're quiet right now
Yeah.
because things are going well. But at the first turn of trouble, if they lose in the first round again,
which wouldn't be a surprise.
they'll
to me.
come out of the woodwork with their Fire Tomlin signs.
And
And I don't get it.
It's insane.
It is insane.
See, but-
I hope if they do, I hope he drives 120 miles or whatever it is west and comes here.
Steelers fans are spoiled,
Of course.
Yeah.
and I get it.
It's like Ohio State fans are spoiled.
right?
Winning in the regular season is almost that's a prerequisite. You have to do that.
Right.
Steelers have had 3 coaches in 50 years.
Almost my
That's
lifetime.
one of the craziest.
It's just about my
big
lifetime.
picture things ever.
Hell, we had 3 in a
coaches
season.
50 years.
We had 3 in a season, more than once, I think.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. Now it's the chicken and the egg. Do you get consistency because you have good coaches, or do you have good coaches because you have
You
consistency?
picked the right coach.
Yeah.
Right, but sometimes there are guys who are the right coaches, but sometimes it takes a number of years. Everybody gets
and then
better.
you're patient with them.
You know, besides Belichick, obviously Belichick is the biggie. All the coaches the Browns have been through, none of them have gone on to have great careers.
Marty Schottenheimer. I mean, we're going way back. You're going 99. Okay. Yeah.
99.
No, you're right.
Well,
No.
Belichick doesn't count.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But he's the first one that comes to
Right,
mind.
right, right.
Everyone
Sure.
says, the Browns and Belichick and all that. But from the time they came back in Kyle Shanahan would be the closest, and he was only the offensive coordinator. But a head coach, all the head coaches that do, it's
There's
not
been a
even,
lot of assistant coaches that have gone on and done
but
well, but
head
none
coaches,
of the head coaches. No.
It's not even like that they rushed to judgment on a coach, fired him too soon, and the guy went elsewhere and went on to have a great career elsewhere.
I will say that I think in better circumstances, of all the coaches the Browns had since I've been here in 2011, I think until Stefanski, I think the best coach they had was Mike Pittman.
I totally
Yeah,
agree with
I
that.
agree with that,
I
too.
totally agree with
He
that.
got stuck in a bad spot.
And he went on to is he still a coordinator in the league or no?
Yeah, he's been
He
a
was
good
with,
think he
coordinator.
is.
He's with the Packers for a while.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know where
Yeah,
he is.
I'm not
now.
sure where he is now.
I'm pretty
but
sure he's still a coordinator.
I
can't
agree
remember
with
where he
that.
is.
I like Mike.
I think he had a
He's
chance.
on the Vikings defensive staff now.
Okay.
Okay, so he's not a coordinator.
Cleveland traumatized him, and I don't know
Yes.
Mike at all. Cleveland traumatized
Well,
him so
I mean, look
badly.
what he had to deal with. They forced him to start Johnny Manziel.
He was like, nope,
He was
I
7
never want to
and-
deal with that again.
I
He
don't blame him.
was 7-5 with a team that had not close to the talent they have now.
Yeah.
And Brian Hoyer is the quarterback. I know we love Brian because he's from here. He's not a starting quarterback in the NFL.
No, but he played well in his
He
time.
played well. And they forced him to start Johnny Manziel. Remember Ray, what was the Ray?
Ray
Farmer.
Ray Farmer's calling him
during the game, right?
It's insane.
The Ray Farmer press conference with the towel. He's wiping his head with the towel. Oh, great moments.
we've
But
seen
I
it all
think-
here in Cleveland.
But every other coach they've had has been awful.
None of them
Awful.
have. Like you
Yeah.
would think, one of them you would have run into. You
Yeah.
picked a good one and you just
Yeah.
fired him or gave up on him too soon, and he
Right.
went on to have a good career
No.
elsewhere. None of them.
No.
None of them.
Yeah, so the track
Don't-
record's incredibly bad. Do we think, by the way, that Stefanski is coming back next year? Because those
I think
rumors
so.
were kind of put to rest by some reports from multiple people, and now
Yeah.
we've all pretty much said, yeah, he is coming back.
I never thought he should have been.
I didn't think they were going to,
Yeah.
but there was a lot of talk that they might.
I think that you always have to have the caveat of you never know with Jimmy because he's such a wild card. But
Right.
Yeah, for me, I'm with you guys. I'd be very
Now,
surprised.
do we feel the same way about Andrew Barry? Because I know one of the reports
Yeah.
said that Barry was going to be back too. But there was another one that only mentions Stefanski
Right.
specifically.
For me personally, I would move on from Berry and keep Stefanski.
Okay.
But my guess is the Browns don't do that. But I don't. What do you think, Jason?
I don't know. I don't want to answer that right now
Okay.
because I just don't know.
I guess we don't know I just want to know the power structure in the organization. Is Barry drafting the guys that he really believes can change this team, or is he getting a packet from the chief strategy officer in Paul DePodesta?
I think AB's in charge of the draft.
You do?
I do.
So-
I can't say it with 100% certainty.
Do you think that Paul has any input into the draft?
Sure. I think probably.
I would want to know this. Who is responsible for scouting wide receivers? Because your system is broken.
Yeah.
And if that's Paul, then let's move on. If it's Andrew, I
Yeah.
have to say there's enough evidence there now that we aren't just missing by a little bit. We're missing by a lot with the wide receivers
I
in
do
the
like
draft.
Cedric
Tillman
Tillman.
is
I
showing
thought
Tillman's a hit, but he's the only guy that I can say
Yeah.
all
He's
the other
also-
guys are just guys.
He's the most recent one that they've drafted.
No, they drafted Thrash last
Oh,
year.
they did draft
Yeah, no, he was a late
And-
pick though.
No,
but-
I know it was.
In the middle round guys, you got to give them a little bit more time. The
Yeah.
first round guys pop right away. They should.
Sure.
The middle round guys, it takes a little bit more time. The one thing that I will say in the Kevin AB thing, and this gets overlooked all the time, I think it's significant, but no one else seems to think so. Kevin was here first.
Yeah.
They hired the coach first.
That's
Yeah.
right. Which is
So-
why I think you can fire AB if you wanted. Or is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, I think they prioritized the coach.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that. And if Barry was hired first, and then he hired Stefanski.
Right. Yeah, that would be a different
There's a different
story.
dynamic,
Sure.
I think. So I do
Yes.
think it should be pointed out that was the order.
I've been a big Kevin Stefanski supporter. There was a moment for a week or two where I was like, well, you got to bring in a new GM, and if he wants a new coach, you got to change it. And I've changed my mind on that because ultimately, I think Kevin's done a good enough job where you find a GM that wants to work with Kevin.
Yeah,
and
I
I think
agree
you'll
with
have
that.
plenty of GMs that will be willing
I
to do
think
that.
Kevin can be a very good coach. I think he's a good coach now. I think he can be in that very good category. And I like that you always point out you learn every year. You learn something every single year.
Yeah.
Believe me, when the autopsy is being done on 2024, Kevin Stefanski is going to have a notebook full of things that he dealt with that he hadn't previously dealt with that he learned something from. He's a smart guy.
I would dare say he and the organization learned more going through this year than any year
Even
previously
COVID.
since they've been here. Oh, even COVID, for sure. COVID, in some ways, COVID was actually easy.
Because
there
a
was
lot of
said
people
that.
were out of the
There
building.
was nobody in the building.
Yeah.
And
No
I've said
distractions.
for years, there's a reason their first year was their most successful. And in one sense, you think, man, it was so hard. He had to install his entire offense over Zoom. Can you imagine how difficult that was? On the other hand, it was all football and no nonsense. There was nobody else in the building. It was only football all the time.
So let's lock everybody else out of the building.
Yeah, right. And there
Or
were
at
no
least an
fa-
office downtown. They can go to work downtown
Yeah,
and
right.
let the football people do the football stuff.
Yeah.
You can lock
that'll
them
never
out on the other side of
And
the
there were
fence.
no fans at the games.
on the
either.
other side of the fence. I see what
Which
you did
is
there.
where we're going next. A great holiday present, guys, if you haven't already gotten your Christmas and holiday presents for your family, is Omaha Steaks. And we got a great deal with Omaha Steaks right now. Nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. This year, you can skip the holiday hustle and bustle and save 50% off gourmet gifts site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, get a $30 reward card when you shop early and score an extra $30 off with promo code NFL. With 5 generations of experience, Omaha Steaks consistently delivers the world's best experience, and the gifting experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages starting at $89.99. From legendary steaks to mouth-watering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code NFL and a $30 reward card when you shop early. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and a $30 extra gift card off with promo code NFL. Minimum purchases do apply. All right, guys, no fence riders for the Browns-Steelers rematch. Last week.
Hey, Mike.
Yes.
Real quick, before we do Fence Riders, did you guys, I promise it'll be real quick, did you guys hear what Albert Breer said about Aiden Hutchinson last night?
No.
Oh, that he might be back?
If the Lions get
Make
to
the
the
Super
Super
Bowl.
Bowl,
Yeah.
he will play.
They mentioned that during the Thanksgiving Day game.
Oh, okay.
So
that would be pretty cool story.
Yeah.
Be
I hate
incredible.
I hate to give people PTSD, but
No, yeah, I know.
is that the right term? PTSD?
Well, post-traumatic
Yeah,
stress.
that's right.
Yeah,
but it would be Kyle Schwarber-esque story.
it would be.
You know, if he were able to come
Did
back.
you guys
to
watch
Super
the game
Bowl.
last night?
No, we were at the Cavs.
Yeah.
Oh,
we-
yeah.
so,
Oh, my
I saw
God.
the end. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to double screen it. Actually, 3 screens because the Avon High School.
Oh, yeah.
What? Congratulations
Congrats,
to
Dan.
Avon
Good call.
High School.
Good call. There are big
That-
rivals, but they earned it.
I gotta tell you, that's the best high school state championship game I've ever seen, and I've been to them in Florida
Yeah.
and Connecticut and
It was
all
great.
over. It
First
was
championship ever.
Did you go?
first ever. No, I
you watch it.
Oh, watch
I'm
it on
going
TV.
Saturday because my high school is
Yeah.
playing Saturday night. I'm going to try to go if the weather is better. but-
AJ's going tonight. He's going to Division I game.
Nice.
with a
The
friend
game
of
was.
his.
It came down to the last play. It looked like a movie. They were down by 7. The quarterback for Anderson looked like he was in the grasp.
Yeah.
He Houdini's out of it. Throws the ball from like the 30-yard line. You couldn't see any of the yard markers because the field was covered with snow.
Yeah.
Into the end zone. The ball gets tipped twice, and as zeros hit the clock. It's like all you need is the slow motion and the music.
Unbelievable.
And it fell to
Congrats.
the ground, and Avon won. And they
Congrats to Avon.
what a gutsy
Yeah,
team.
I know a lot about Avon. Just living in Avon Lake.
I bet.
And everybody said that was the best team that they've had. To this
There you go.
First ever state
There you go.
championship
Mike,
for
before you
Avon.
hate me even more, go ahead.
Sorry.
All right, no fence riders.
Yeah.
Against Denver on Monday night, Jameis threw for 497 yards. So the question this time was, Will Jameis throw for 335 or more against Pittsburgh? Guys, think how far we've come. We went down to 160. There's our lowest total for a no fence rider. We're up to 335 for Jameis.
Did we ever get to a point where you would say yes to?
I don't think so.
Because Mike was just going to keep going lower, lower, lower.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I kept saying, yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
No.
And here's the crazy part. We're up to 335. 5 of us said yes, he will.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
Jay, Jason, Tyvis, and myself, 4 of us, I can't count, all said yes, he will. Bull,
He could have
Dustin,
it by the
Earl,
third
and G
quarter.
said no. Dead even split. Jay, you start us off. Why is he getting 335?
He's gone for 500. He's gone for 400. Now you're telling me all he needs is 335.
That's
I know
half.
it's a great defense. What was his number against Pittsburgh in the snow?
In the high 2s.
Okay. Give him a clean field. It's supposed to be good weather.
Yeah.
I just think he gets there. I think that's child's play for him.
Bull, you went no. Why'd you say no?
I mean, it's just the odds are that he's going to be under. You know, nobody routinely puts up 340 yards plus. I know he's done it a number of times. He's done it great, but
What's his average? Just
Averaging
for the games he's started. Because I know he went for 495.
I'm doing the math real quick. Hold on.
Oh boy,
Went for 395.
I don't know what.
While Mike's setting that up, he
Yeah.
didn't ask me, but I'll answer it
Yeah.
anyway. The league will give you whatever you want between the 20s.
Yeah. And he's
And
good at taking
He's averaging 336, and I did not know that before I made that
Look
up,
at
I
that.
swear. But he's
I
averaging
feel good about
336 on
that.
the dot.
But they'll give you whatever you want between the 20s.
Yeah.
What decides games is, are you kicking threes or are you scoring sixes?
Yeah.
I just
And
have a
they-
feeling.
as
Or
much
throwing
as they,
picks.
As much as they throw the ball, you can throw 6 the other way. But as much as the Browns are throwing the ball, I don't think that's going to change.
I'm just expecting a much better effort from the Steelers defensively. They didn't play great in the snow against
You
the
could
Browns.
get that, and he'll still get.
They didn't play great against them. No, he could. Listen, it wasn't an easy decision, which sounds ridiculous at 335. I think he'll be just under.
Hell, against New Orleans, he threw for 400. But to Jason's point, he had 14 points.
Yep.
You know, he's burning it up between the 20s. And then, now against the Saints, he didn't have any turnovers.
Yeah.
So the fact that they did that is always, I think they're going to take that game, the tape of it, and they're going to put it in the Hall of Fame, and they're going to say, you got to watch this
How did
because
that
this will never happen again.
Well, right, last week I think I tweeted the most impressive stat while the game was going on is they were 3 for 3 in red zone possessions, 3 touchdowns, and then he threw the pick 6 the other way, and
Yeah.
none of that mattered anymore.
Yeah.
yeah.
The reason I went over, Pittsburgh's rush defense, top 5 in football. They're really good against the run. I think if the Browns are going to have any success moving the ball, it's going to come via
Yeah.
the air. And that leads us into our second no fence rider question. Well, Nick Chubb, who ran for less than 25 yards last week, will he get 45 in his return to Pittsburgh, which is where the injury last season happened? Jay, Bull, G, Jason, Tyvis, and Earl all took the yes on the over 45. Dustin and myself went on the under.
Well, you explain why you think no. At 45 is such a small number. And they have to establish the run. They didn't at all last week.
It's really tough to run against Pittsburgh.
It
B,
is.
I just think they're going to split carries, and to get 45, he may need 12, 13, 14 carries. I don't think they're going to get 12, 13, 14 carries.
Yeah.
If you'd have put it at 60, I'd have said no.
I would have too.
But 40, I'm with you. 45 seemed like a low enough
I thought he
number.
could get 50.
I doubled his number from last week. That's how I came up with 45.
Yeah.
I mean-
so he had
9 carries for 22 yards.
Oh man.
It's
And he
not,
had a 10-yard carry.
It's not
No,
infrequent in
catch.
the NFL
right?
for
a 10-yard
things.
reception.
What did you say?
You said and he had a 10-yard carry. Did you mean 10-yard reception?
No, he had, of those 21 yards, 10 came on one
Oh,
carry.
I see.
He had
And
8 carries for 11
He
yards.
did catch a ball that
Yeah,
He caught a
did.
touchdown.
Touchdown.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's not infrequent in the NFL for things to happen that you don't expect to happen. So
Correct.
everything points to the Browns have been terrible running the ball. The Steelers have been great at stopping the run. So wouldn't it just figure that for whatever reason this is the game that Nick Chubb has a good game?
Yeah.
Makes no sense. It's the opposite of what should happen.
hope
But
he
I'm going a
does.
little George Costanza here and going the opposite.
Love that. All right, third question. It's a dead even split. And this was going to be a whole topic. I figured it worked better as a fence rider. But who has more receiving yards on Sunday? George Pickens or Jerry Jeudy? Jeudy coming off his 235-yard performance against the Broncos. Pickens in a revenge game against the Browns after he called them out post-loss just 2 weeks ago. Jay, Bull, G, and myself are on Team Jeudy. Jay, Tyvis, Earl, Dustin, they're on Team Pickens. Jay, you want to start with the Pickens? Jason, you want to start with Pickens, and then we'll explain why we're on the right side of history here.
It's really just the law of averages for me. I don't know that Jerry can match what he did. Not that he has to match yardage-wise, but I don't know if he can put up another game like that. And Pickens, really for me, was Mike Tomlin calling him out after the game and saying he needs to be an adult and he needs to grow up. And when you get called out by the coach like that, it's sort of we're going to see who you are.
Yeah, it can go one of two ways.
It can go one of two ways. And given how upset he was at the end of the game a couple weeks ago, I just think he's going to be motivated.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I think you're right. It's a character test for him.
Yeah.
Because when you're called out publicly, now, I don't think Tomlin would have done it if he didn't think he would get the right result from it.
Exactly.
So he knows him far better than I do, and he thinks that's the right button to push, and I always defer. If Mike Tomlin's doing it, I think it's the right thing.
Yep.
So I like what you're saying there, and I can tell you Jeudy will not have the kind of game Sunday that he did in Denver. That's a one-off. But I do think that there is a real chemistry developing between Jameis and Jeudy. Do you guys feel that too?
Sure. Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't mean just because you look at the yardage, but I think sometimes he's throwing the ball to Jeudy when he wasn't the first option on that play call. And I like that. That means, I don't know if it's changed the way he's gone through his progressions, but he's finding Jeudy and he's finding him open, and they've built a nice little chemistry, which you would expect. By the way, they only had a handful of reps together. And as the season goes on, they're getting more in practice because he's the starter now. And I think there's a real thing developing between Jameis and Jeudy. And I think they're going to put up some big numbers Sunday.
I'm going to stupidly convince myself that the Browns are going to have a good game plan defensively. When it comes to the Steelers, George Pickens is their only receiver. They have nobody else that's any good at wide receiver. And I got to believe Denzel Ward is following him around. They probably won't, and they'll probably get a big play on Martin Emerson. But I think if Denzel Ward's on Pickens, I don't think Pickens is going to have much of a day. And if I'm the Browns, I don't know why you wouldn't put him on, because nobody else is going to – like Emerson can handle the rest of their receivers.
Austin seems to be – he's productive.
I mean, what's his stats, Mike?
He's a guy.
He had a nice
not
guy.
good. Pickens has more receiving yards than the next two guys combined.
I mean, is Freiermuth second on the team in receiving?
Freiermuth is second with 422 yards.
Yeah, he's
Pickens
a tight
has
end.
850, and Austin has 383.
Are you confident that there won't be any coverage busts?
No, and that's why I could see that. Yes, and Pickens could, like, I could see Pickens having 90 yards on 2 catches.
Yeah,
because he's a big play guy, but so's Jeudy been a big play guy.
He has been, very much so.
And their top back is, what's his name? Joey Porter
Jr.
And he's not as good
He's
as Denzel
good, but he's
Ward.
not Denzel.
No.
I mean, I think it'll be close. I think Jeudy and Pickens' yardage at the end of the day will be close. I just think I think the Steelers have a lot of motivation. Imagine,
They do. I think they're going to play pissed off this
I'll go
week.
back to Ohio State, Michigan, and I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but imagine if Ohio State got to play Michigan 2 weeks later. I tend to think the outcome would be a lot different. Maybe not. Maybe
No, Ryan Day would be even tighter. The guy's a tight ass.
Yeah, I agree.
Kevin Stefanski's not a tight ass.
I think.
But neither is Mike Tomlin.
I believe if Ohio State played Michigan again next Saturday, the outcome would be far different.
In Ann Arbor?
Well, in this instance, it would be you're going home.
But they've already lost the home game.
No. But Pittsburgh's going home.
Right, but what I'm saying is Ohio State already had the home game and they lost it.
You guys are making hypotheticals. So.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying. The team that should have won in the first place is going home. They're getting them on their home field now.
Yeah.
I just think Pittsburgh's going to have a much better day Sunday.
Well, I think they're going to win too.
Yeah.
But I think in typical Browns fashion, they can lose but put up gargantuan numbers with the passing game, because if you're trailing, and by the way, the Browns were never really trailing by as much
They were
in
never
the
out of
Denver
it.
game as you would think that they would just completely
They
abandon
were
the
never
run.
out of it.
Yeah.
They were never out of it.
Yes, they don't commit to it, but they haven't been able to run.
They
They've
have
run
not
with
been able to run
no
it at all.
success at all.
Yeah.
I said Monday night on the 7 o'clock that Mary Kay and I do with Nick.
Point after, I think.
Yeah. I said that I cleaned it up a little bit of what I put in the group text, that riding with Jameis is a lot like those crazy women that you would have dated in your 20s that are it's a wild ride. You're probably going to wind up in the ER, maybe jail. It's going to be a great time, and she's going to ruin your life.
Yeah.
And Russ Mitchell had no idea what to do with me by the end of
Yeah, I
that
can
segment.
imagine. I love Russ. Russ has probably had a nice witty retort that he saved.
He did. He said something like, I can't imagine the women you dated in your 20s.
Yeah. I don't think he wants to imagine.
I'm going to save Jason. Let's get to the next one. T.J. Watt in the first matchup against the Steelers only had 2 pressures. In the rematch, will he have 5 or more? So at 5 or more, J Bull G, Jason, and Earl said, nah, this Browns offensive line has it. Tyvis, Dustin, myself said, we think 5 pressures is happening for TJ Watt. And I'll tell you why first, if you allow me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you remember after the first game when Miles called out TJ?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I'm picking Miles over TJ 10 out of 10 times. Do not mistake what I'm about to say for
I know
comparing
where
the
you're going.
two. But just like Miles had remembered what TJ had tweeted after he won the DPOY, I think TJ is going to come out motivated. And Conklin's done pretty well on the right side. He can certainly handle his own. TJ's had 5 or more pressures in 8 games already this season. Much more than half. It's not an absurd number. I think 5 is going to happen. He's going to play motivated in this contest. I'd still rather have Miles.
He is going to be motivated because I thought, like you, I thought when those comments made it their way back to him for sure.
Yeah.
And, sometimes, and this guy plays with a hot motor all the time, but does he have another gear? He seems to. We'll find out.
We're doing the X Factor in the TV show, right?
We are.
Yes.
So I got my answer in too late because I agree with you. I put TJ Watt as
that's who I
I changed.
We all said TJ.
So I changed it to somebody else.
I think what we should have done for the question is take
Miles and Watt out of it,
TJ and the quarterbacks out.
Oh, we could do that when we get there.
So trouble is, I'm sure you have graphics built and
we got graphics
But
for everybody.
here's the thing: like TJ has been the player in this series multiple times, but he had James Hudson across from him.
Right.
Jack Conklin is not James Hudson, and I thought the Browns did a nice job, and I think this was really more Wyatt than the scheme. I'm sure you guys saw the clip that went viral of Wyatt coming over and just launching TJ on a play, which I don't understand why they didn't give that support to Hudson when he was on an island with TJ on some of those. The Baker game is stuck in my head.
Yeah, of course.
Well, I think that had more to do with running Baker out of town.
Well, I've had that conversation with people, and they felt like there was opportunities for him to get the ball out, and he was holding the ball too long.
I know, but Jay,
I agree with you.
When you're watching it in real time,
yes,
you're screaming, "How about some help over there?"
I totally agree.
They could have made that decision at any point during the game and did not.
I wrote after that game, this feels like it was Baker's last game in a Browns uniform, and it was.
It felt like they wanted it to be his last game in a Browns uniform.
TJ, I think, will be the X factor. If he's getting the pressures, it's going to be a long day for Jameis.
Yeah.
But I think Conklin is a lot better than, obviously, he's better than James Hudson, and with just enough help from Wyatt, or
slow him down,
or a chip
now,
off
I did
from
see,
a running back.
And this kind of changes my answer, but Highsmith is going to play.
He is.
And he did not play in the first game. And how many times do we talk about, yes, TJ's a great player, he's also a product of having other great players around him.
Yeah.
And now one of
he's
the
going to
other good
have
players,
one of those stalwarts
Yeah.
on that defensive line. That means the Browns have to spend a lot more attention on Highsmith that they didn't have to spend in the first game. So
he probably will get it. I just can't stand TJ Watt, so I'm rooting against him. So TJ, I got some big news. First of all, TJ Watt is in my top 5 most hated players in the NFL.
Who did he bump out?
You want to know? Well, he's already been there.
Oh,
Baker.
You want to know who I took out?
not Baker.
He
You
likes
took
Baker
out
now.
Baker?
He
Took
said,
Baker out.
You've made peace with Baker?
Well, not personally. He,
no,
but-
Wednesday on the show when Aditi was with us, he said, I kind of like Baker now. I don't hate him anymore.
Wow.
I don't know. Did I say that? That I like him?
Well,
I'm not
no,
going to.
what you said was he's not nearly as annoying, and you think he's grown up.
True.
You think he's matured.
I think, and I saw another press conference with him where he had to wear a Missouri sweatshirt because of
the
a bet he
Missouri
made,
Oklahoma bet,
and the sweatshirt said Missouri Grandma on it.
That's
and he was
awesome.
joking around with the media. Like, I felt like he was kind of dickish to the media here, and that really rubbed me the wrong way.
he for sure was.
It was like when he played well, but anytime he played poorly, he would get on the media, and I thought it was unfair.
You know what's wild about
Didn't like that?
The Oklahoma media loved him. And
He
thought
had nothing but success there.
And that had a lot to do with it. But I
Right.
remember talking to some of the Oklahoma writers who I went down to Oklahoma to do a story on.
Yeah,
him.
right. I remember that.
And so I got to know some of the Oklahoma writers. It was particularly the one that worked for us. And he knew Baker really well.
Yeah.
And he said, I look at Baker and think, like, who hurt you? Like, what happened?
Yeah, why are you so broken?
This is not the same dude that we had in Norman at all. And now in Tampa.
They
he
love him in
seems to be-
Tampa.
And
Right, because he's a different guy now. He's probably back to the guy he was in Oklahoma on some level. I thought it was interesting when he was here. He would constantly be defiant about, hey, do you need to mature? Do you need to? And he was, no, I am who I am.
Yeah.
Well, he's changed clearly.
He has.
I mean, I don't know. It is
He's admitted, Bull. He said it on record.
Yeah.
He's changed. He grew up. He needed Cleveland to get to where he is.
Exactly.
At this point of his career.
And so
that's why
that's it. I'm
TJ
done.
Watt's annoying to me right now because he's in every commercial.
Yeah, the Watt
Somebody,
family, yeah.
whoever represents JJ and TJ, have been watching the success of the Kelsey brothers and saying, wait a minute, why can't we do that?
Yeah,
and now they're literally in every other commercial.
They had Bill Murray on the Kelsey brothers the other day.
Did they really?
Yeah, it was
on their
pretty
pod?
funny. Yeah. But I love the Kelsey brothers. If they were not from Cleveland and they weren't that likable, I'd be done with them.
Yes,
I'm kind of getting sick of them. Mahomes, I can't take anymore, and I loved Mahomes, but I can't take him anymore.
Well, get
He's
used
in
to Kelsey.
every
Jason
commercial.
just got his own show on ESPN.
We have one more fence rider question,
Yeah.
then we want to get to Cavs, and I want to make sure we get enough time for the baseball topic. So let's get through this last fence rider relatively quickly. What number is going to be higher on Sunday? David Njoku's targets or Nick Chubb's rushing attempts? Njoku led the NFL last week with 17 targets against the Broncos. Chubb had 9 rushing attempts in the game. How will it look on Sunday? Well, we have a dead even split. Jay, Jason, Earl, and Dustin went with the Njoku targets being higher than the Chubb rushing attempts. Bull, G, Tyvis, and myself all went with the Chubb rushing attempts.
It's surprising how wrong you guys are on this.
Wow. Well, please tell me why.
Well, because the amount of targets he had last week is, that's not normal.
Okay, cut it in
Tight end.
half. It's still more rushes than Chubb.
Well, you don't think Nick Chubb will get more than 8 rushes?
I mean, he hasn't. That's what
Well,
they're
how
using.
many
That's how
carries
they're
did he
using
get last
him.
week?
He had
Mike?
9.
And the week before, give me his
I think he had
carries
10,
by week.
Right around 10.
Nick Chubb by week coming up. He had
11 once. Didn't he have 11 for 50?
I got his game log right here. Okay, against Denver, 9 carries. Against Pittsburgh in the snow, 20. Against New Orleans, 11. Against the Chargers, 15. Against the Ravens, 16. And against the Bengals, 11.
Yeah, I mean, he's had double digits
Probably 12
in
or
all
13
game
average.
but one. I mean, even if you take out the anomaly of the 20 in the snow, but even if you take that one out, he's still probably averaging 10 or 11. I think he gets 11, 12. I think there's
carries
got to
did
be
Ford
part
get?
of him that wants to. That it's got to be meaningful playing in Pittsburgh. 'Cause that's
Back
where he
at
got
that
hurt.
field. Yeah.
And
That's where the demons are for him.
Yeah, and I don't know. I got a feeling he's going to have like 13, 14
How many
carries.
did Ford get last week? I felt
9.
like
They both had
really.
9.
I felt like they were leaning more towards Ford.
I went back and forth on this one, and I probably did pick wrong. I probably should have gone Chubb. But I
mean,
do
it could
think
go
it'll be
either
close.
way.
Well, here's the thing. Jameis threw it almost 60 times. That's not
Right.
going to happen
No,
again.
no.
You don't think.
Woo!
Nah, I mean, it's
Who's happy? Who's
It's
most
still
happy
gonna
with
be-
that number, by the way?
Listen,
Jimmy.
I said it yesterday. This is what Ken Dorsey does. They throw the ball. They
Yeah.
call
pass plays. They throw the ball. It may
Yes.
not be 60.
But it's in the 40s, high 40s.
High 40s.
But it's not going to be 60 again, most likely.
I mean, when you throw it that many times,
We'll see.
And the other team knows it's coming, and at somewhere around 45, they have a pretty good idea what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And that's where he broke down.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, we're not worried about the run at all, so we're not peeking our nose in there to start the play.
Yeah.
And we're going to squat on routes and we're going to jump routes. And when you do that, you get pick sixes.
Yep, that's true.
I think they should probably target the edges a little less because those are the dangerous throws. You know, when you go on the quick little outs, there's nobody. You're on an island, and if the defensive back smells it and jumps it,
Right.
it's 6 on the other team.
In the one touchdown, it was a defensive end, an undersized defensive
Yeah,
end.
and a wide receiver that just gave up on the play.
Well, right.
I mean-
Those are two different plays, though, right?
Well, the wide receiver, yeah, they were two different plays.
Yes,
they were
yes.
they were different plays.
But yes,
You're right.
everybody.
But that guy can run.
I don't think I've met I think pretty much every single person I met yesterday at the Cavs game said, "What's with Elijah Moore in that play? Why did he touch him?"
Yeah. Unreal.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Cavs game, Bo, let's dive into what happened at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse after we give you guys another terrific gift option for all your holiday gift-giving needs. I know you guys are like me in your holiday shopping lists, and let's just call it far from complete. Well, if that's the case, we got the perfect gift for the passionate sports fans in your life. Perhaps you've heard of the Ice Shaker. Ice Shaker is now officially licensed with the NFL, NHL, NBA, NCAA, and Major League Baseball, which makes it the perfect gift created by and used by the Gronkowski brothers. Ice Shakers has sold over 1 million bottles. They've changed the game with workout bottles, and this is the gift you've been looking for. If you go to iceshaker.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL at checkout, you get 25% on your order. The Ice Shaker is made with kitchen-grade stainless steel that won't absorb odor like plastic bottles do. Its patented twist-in agitator breaks up powders, but is silent when you shake it instead of that annoying metal clank sound you get in a regular ball. You can order your team-branded Ice Shaker bottles today at iceshaker.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for 25% off your order. Ice Shakers, show your support for your teams with the best branded workout bottles on the market, which is Ice Shakers.
Well, I'm in now.
That's a tongue twister read. Tongue twister read.
Can I ask a question?
Who doesn't
what
like
does
a
it
breast
look
shaker?
like? And can we maybe have them send us a Browns one that we can use as a prop on the show to help sell the product?
It's a national lockdown deal. We are one of 400
I get that.
things.
I get that. But, I mean, people, look, if you want to sell a product, what does it look? My first question is, okay, that's a cool logo. What does the product look like?
Jay, if I had any word in sales, if I knew anyone who worked in sales, if I knew anyone who did the sales for Lockdown that gives us, I could ask. That is way up the ladder.
I mean, if I'm
we're hiring
the
we're hiring a salesperson in 2024 for UCSS.
I've heard.
So when we have
in 2025.
25.
Yeah.
When we have our own salesperson, I'll be able to make those requests very easily.
Okay. Because I'd love to see what it looks like. That's a product that I would buy. Just on your description, I would buy it. Now they come in team branded, so I can get them with a Guardians logo. Do they have deals with all the professional sports leagues?
We'll put a picture up in a second.
Here's their Star Wars.
Just so you guys know, you can get a Browns one for $39.99 on NFLShop.com.
I don't think you can see that.
We'll put it in tag. We'll
There's
pull
a
it up
Star
in the-
Wars
Yeah,
one.
no, that's
cool.
That's a cool look.
All right.
The feature that I most like is the plastic ones do absorb the odor. Have you guys ever? You probably have.
Well, I can't smell, so I don't know.
You do? Oh, you can't smell?
I have no sense of smell, no.
Oh my God! You do a protein shake, right? And you leave it in your car on a Friday.
Oh.
And even though you finish the protein shake.
Yeah.
I don't know what happens. I don't know what the chemical osmosis. I don't know what is going on. But when you leave that in a hot car over 3 days and you open that lid,
Rancid.
it literally is a sewer.
Yeah.
I don't know what. And then I always think, do I really want to drink this when I work out?
Yeah.
If it makes the inside of my bottle smell like that, what the hell's it doing to me?
But it's tough.
I miss the days of hot cars. Those
Yeah.
days are gone for a few months.
Yeah, I would love to have them back.
Let's talk about the Cavs game last night. In the game, in which they beat the Nuggets pretty convincingly, Evan Mobley tied a career high with 3 3-point makes in the game. He took a couple that were quick, in rhythm, in motion, which was incredible to see, and his teammates talked about it afterwards. Karis LeVert had 20 points off the bench, including 14 in the first quarter. Bull, you were there. I want to ask you this first because it's your first time seeing Mobley's jump shot in person.
Yeah.
You heard Kenny in the postgame talk about how that impacts their offense, how they need him to continue to take those shots. What was your big takeaway from the win, and how impressed were you with Mobley's catch and shoot, more the quickness than the result?
I was offended that I was not able to ask a question in the post-game presser.
Why not?
No, I'm kidding. I didn't even ask to. Do you ask to, Mike?
Yeah, you got to raise your hand.
Yeah, I didn't really want to. I had a question prepared because BJ, who's their head of promotions, he saw me there.
Promotions?
Not promotions.
No, media.
Media. I don't know where I came over with promotions.
BJ's going, wait a minute, what? I just got demoted.
He saw me sitting
It's on the
next.
Scream Team.
I like BJ.
He saw me sitting next to Mike, and his eyes went like all wide like this, and he had a big smile on his face, like he couldn't believe I was there. But there I was. But Kenny Atkinson, does he always talk so softly in the press conference? He's so chill.
Yeah, that's his vibe.
He's so mellow. I like it. He gives good answers, and I like the fact, by the way, that Kenny's like, he kind of acknowledges when he thinks somebody asks a good question, and not that he insults the people that don't. But anyway, I thought he was cool.
That's a savvy
Veteran coach thing to do.
trick. That's a savvy move by well-coached teams. Of that's a good question. That's like
because you make the media feel
Butter
better
them up.
about themselves.
But-
Yes,
butter
yes,
them up.
Yeah, right.
But what do you think of Mobley shooting?
Anyway, but he made the point of Mobley's gotta He in fact said, I don't mind if Mobley takes some bad three-point shots. That there's a sweet spot. He doesn't want him shooting too much from three, but he's got to be willing to shoot for three, and from three a little more often than he has. And that he specifically said in the playoffs, we're going to need him to bring some of these big guys from these other teams and get him out of the paint if he's a threat from three, and that's what they're working on with him. So he was really pumped. And I don't know. I thought Mobley played with, as he has pretty much all season, I thought he played with a lot of confidence. I thought he, considering he was playing the best player in basketball, I know he wasn't directly going up against him all the time, but he played with a lot of toughness. You look at that. I mean, he had a great game. And I thought his aggressiveness, both in the paint and from three, was pretty impressive to watch. And to see him get his career high in three-pointers made, was pretty cool. I loved what I saw from Mobley, and I thought Atkinson's comments about it were very interesting about how much he wants him to shoot from three.
Yeah, I do think they're going to need that, and I think they're getting it. I'm surprised the other day when we were running through, is this sustainable for all the guys, that Mikey was like, yeah, all of Mobley's numbers are lower than what they were last year, which was...
It is hard to believe.
Because I got to tell you, just with the eye test, I'm just seeing a different guy. On his first three, you could see him migrate to the corner before the ball ever came his way. And then the ball eventually did make it his way, and he hit the three. I think this is it right here.
This is, and Donovan said this is the favorite three he's ever seen Mobley take. It's the quickest release. His feet didn't do the 1-2 little hop he usually does.
No hesitation at all.
What I noticed about it was he flashed specifically to go there to shoot that ball.
Yep.
And obviously the team realized that, okay, he wants the ball here. We're going to give it to him. But it was a beautiful stroke. It was a quick release. The corner three, I love the corner three anyhow. But I'm stunned that his production is less than it was last year.
Is it still the case, Mike, or is it now?
Well, it was only 2 games ago.
Well, his points are up. His three-point shooting, despite 3 last night, is still, 3 points lower than it was last year. But he's taking an entire attempt more. So,
yeah, but I think what that reminds me so often is in basketball in particular, a guy can. It's just not about stats. It really isn't. I mean, that's what we use to measure all these guys. But what is the impact that player is having on the four around him when he's out there? And my eyes tell me that this is a much different team. He is a much more aggressive player. Okay, if the production is the same, then that is what it is. But I'll take this version of Evan Mobley a million times. I love this team.
Is there some advanced stat that Mobley's way better than? I don't understand. Like, we're not making this up.
What's his plus minus?
We're not making it up, right? I mean, he's a totally different player.
His usage rate is the highest of his career.
That's the big one.
Okay, that's how you did that.
And he's playing with force. He's playing with aggression. He's playing with the ball in his hands more.
Yeah.
And that's the difference.
What's his plus minus? Is his plus minus drastically different from what it was last year?
Everybody's is
drastically I know, because they're playing so much better.
Yeah, his plus minus is, it was 0.7 last year. It's 9.3 this year.
Okay, I don't think everybody's up 9.
No, they are.
They are?
Everybody's up plus 9?
Harris LeVert leads the NBA in plus minuses.
What is his?
Is he still? Because he dipped for a while.
Well, he was plus 19 last night.
Good God, that's insane.
A week or so ago, I can't remember what game it was, they had like 4 of the top 10 in plus minus in the league.
Well, they've had a lot of blowouts.
Well, you'd expect that because they've had so many blowouts. But what I love about this team is also what I hate about this team. They were up 16, and then you blink a couple times, and they're up 2.
Yeah, but that's not uncommon.
But
the Nuggets are a real good team.
It's still frustrating.
Yeah.
But what I love about this team is they know where the accelerator is, and they don't even need to look. They just find it, and then the next thing you know, they're back up 12, 14.
What was particularly bizarre about that being up by only 2 late in the first half was, and we were talking about it, the Nuggets only hit 1 3-pointer the entire half.
That was the other thing.
And they got it late in the first half.
They went, I think, the whole first quarter without shooting one. I think it was into the second quarter.
No, they shot one. I think 2 in the first, but they didn't make it.
I don't remember that they did. But what
they
I
were
remember,
0 for 6 from 3 with about 3 minutes to go in the half.
Here's what I thought of at halftime. I said to myself, this Denver team came out of a time capsule from 1997. And they were dropped into an NBA arena against a modern-day team, and they were like, why is everybody shooting so much?
They scored 76 points in the paint last night.
Yeah.
Denver did.
I mean,
76
I get it. When you got a
and
guy
lost.
like Jokic, that's what you're going to do. But you have got to add more three-point shooting to your game.
Kenny Atkinson didn't make the point after the game that they're very efficient with their 3-point shooting.
Yeah.
They just don't shoot a lot.
Well,
They're not a volume
but
team.
to that point, okay, they're not a bad three-point shooting team. If you're a good three-point shooting team, every analytics person in the world is going to say, well, do more of what you're good at. And
I get it. You're right. I enjoyed watching them play. I thought it was a fun contrast of styles.
it was a stark contrast.
I mean, Jokic, seeing him in person, I mean, it's just, and Mike and Jason are right. Like, you watch him play, it doesn't even, last night didn't even, it felt like he wasn't playing well last night. And then he goes 27, 20, and 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mike made the great point last night.
He's going to break
he goes,
record for the most triple-doubles.
Is he?
What was my great bull? What was my great point last night? Remind me.
Mike's great point is that the reason Jokic seems like his numbers are a surprise by the end of the game is because he doesn't take memorable shots. He makes everything look so simple.
Well, everything looks like an easy bunny for him because he gets it down low and he's so easy to put it off the glass.
And he doesn't like there was I saw some video. It wasn't from last night's game, but it was. He was on the court, in the front court, by himself. He had gotten a long pass, and he could have easily dunked, and he just went
laid it
layup.
in. Yeah, there's no flash to his game.
It's just zero flash to his game.
But he is going to break the record. I think Russell Westbrook
Russ averaged
has
triple-double.
200.
Yeah,
Well, he's averaging a triple-double right now.
yeah.
He is.
Brian Windhorst yesterday said,
How was Windy?
Terrific.
It was great.
Was he in studio or remote?
No, remote.
He's in LA.
He said that Jokic is having possibly the most efficient season in the history of the NBA.
I
Which
wouldn't
is
doubt
crazy.
He's such a skilled passer for a big man. He sets screens, and you have no chance of getting around him.
And he's always in the
gives you
right
one
spot.
of those, and it's game over.
He's always in the right spot. Like, he's in the right spot to get the rebound.
Yeah.
And he just...
Yeah.
But I do think that Jared Allen and Mobley as a combo played well. Like, they held their own against him. I know he's going to always have his numbers.
I mean, Jared had double-digit rebounds.
He had like 15, 16 rebounds.
Wow.
Jared was 2 points and 4 assists away from a triple-double.
Jared's scoring was down a little bit last night.
Yeah, at 8.
But I think it takes so much out of you going against
Right.
Yeah.
Jokic on
It
the
has to.
But together they did a good job. I mean, I thought Mobley and Allen both played. Allen didn't take many shots. How many shots did Jared Allen take last night, Mike?
He was
5
3
or 6?
3 or 5 from the floor.
Yeah, right. He didn't shoot. But he and Mobley together, I mean, I thought they both played really well. It was,
I
you're
thought
going
it was,
against the best player
a
in the
nice
league.
win. I thought it was a good win.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. 8 points.
I know Denver's
15
not.
boards, 6
What is
assists.
Denver's record? They're a couple over 500, right?
They're 11-9 now. They're
Okay.
better than the record says. But
Yeah,
I think they are. I think they're better than
They're
that
a
too.
threat.
But that was a
all the
quality.
time.
To me, it was a quality win
Absolutely.
against a team that is better than their record.
I
Yeah,
have one last question
they've
for you
got some
guys because
issues.
I want to
do.
dive into
Yeah.
baseball. But seeing the contrast in styles, Denver took 24 threes.
Yeah.
The Cavs made 22 yesterday. Bull, I'm starting with you because you've talked about your desire for some more contrast in basketball. You missed
Yeah.
some of the old school post-ups. Seeing that yesterday, seeing a team that played like an early 2000s, late 90s team, do you still miss it, or now do you see the contrast? Have you changed your mind when you actually saw it in person?
I miss it, but I understand why it has to be gone.
Yeah.
Now, if they change the scoring, if you made 3-pointers 4-pointers and 2-pointers 3-pointers, it would change the math.
Yeah, it does.
But as long as the math is what it is, where a 3 is worth 1.5 twos, it's never going to change, and I understand it. I enjoyed watching the Nuggets and their post-up play, which we like. You don't see that, and I think it's fun to watch. And I enjoyed I do enjoy, even though the Cavs do shoot a lot of threes. What I like about the Cavs, as compared to a lot of other teams that are just chucking threes, is they move the ball. I don't know. Is there a stat, Mike, for like most ball movement, and are the Cavs near the top?
Touches per possession, maybe?
I don't know. I haven't seen it like in the last 2 games or 3
Yeah.
games, but they're near the top in driving kicks.
Yeah, they
which is-
had
which
to
is
because
a good indicator.
I hate when it's just like dribble, 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 shoot a 3.
I do
That's
too.
boring, and that's
We used to do that.
Yeah, but now this team, watching the ball, but especially when you're at the game, and I know I'm obsessing over being at the game yesterday, and it's old hat for Mike and Jason, but being at the game, you see a little more of the setup of the play. that you don't maybe see on TV as much.
There's a much different appreciation.
Yeah, it really is. And just, I love the ball movement. Yeah. And, I'll tell you something else that's really great. You said you love this team, and I'm with you. What's really great about this team is, like, you see a lot of good teams with veteran players that don't play, in a way, even though they don't play 80s, 90s style basketball, in a way, I feel like the Cavs are a throwback team because they play hard every night.
They seem to.
And maybe it's going to come back and bite them. I have no idea. I don't think so, because I think Kenny Atkinson uses his bench so wisely and so deeply that I don't think it will. I just think that's how they like to play. Donovan Mitchell's the best player on the team, and he wants to play hard every night.
He's Jose Ramirez.
And yes, and so it's contagious.
Yeah.
And while other teams are taking nights off or Cavs, even the games the Cavs have played that were bad, like against Atlanta, it wasn't because they weren't playing hard. They just, Atlanta appears to be a bad matchup for them right now.
They had a clunker.
But has there been a game all year where you like the Cavs didn't play hard tonight?
No.
I don't think so.
Didn't play hard? No,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
There have been a few games where they didn't play well. Not many, but a few.
Yeah.
But
the Atlanta game
they play
comes
with
to
an
mind.
energy night in, night out. And as a fan who's paying a lot of money, not me, but a lot of money to go to games, there's a lot of people paying a lot of money, you want your team to play hard every night.
That's what you want to see, especially a city like Cleveland.
Yes.
We're a blue-collar city. We like our athletes to go out there and leave it all out there every single night.
Right.
And I never, even in their defeats, I didn't think that they mailed it in.
No.
Or, they could have looked at Washington the other night as a, this is a blip.
Yeah.
This is we can mail it in. They didn't mail it in.
No.
I thought they played a great game.
Well, I got a stat for you, then we'll move on to baseball. The
Yeah.
Cavs this season, this is ball movement stats. They are third in the NBA in drives per game. They average 55 drives per game. They're second in the NBA on pass percentage out of drives. So driving kick percentage in the league at 44%.
Is Boston one?
The Chicago Bulls are the most.
Oh, wow.
The highest percentage. The most drives per game is OKC. Boston's actually near the lower end of that
really?
list on both drives.
Well, because they just
and
shoot
kick percentage
threes.
because they go ISO and shoot threes at times.
Yeah.
So it's
I don't know.
contrasting
But that it makes sense that the Cavs are 2 and 3 there.
I'll echo what Bull said, too, on the style. It was interesting for me to watch it, but all I kept saying is, oh, my God, it's like they haven't watched basketball in 30 years.
That is funny.
And it's really surprising. You brought up if you change the scoring.
Yeah.
I would love to know how many games would flip in terms of who won and who lost if threes counted as fours but twos counted as threes. Because you're right, it's a math problem.
Right.
It's not 1.5.
It's 1 1/3 now.
It's 1 1/3.
Yeah.
And so I would think that would probably, they'll never do it.
No.
But,
Yeah.
I know our next topic is we're going to a crazy baseball rule idea.
Right.
That would be a crazy NBA rule idea. And I would
sure.
love to see how many of the games would have the outcome changed if it was scored that way.
Right.
Well, let's get to that crazy baseball rule because I'm fascinated to see how – I know how Jason and Bull feel about it. I'm fascinated to see how
I
Jay
can't wait to
feels
see how
about
they
it.
feel about it.
But, guys, we talked about holiday gifts. This is the third holiday gift that should send us a product to put on the set. It is skylight frames. If you're missing someone this holiday season and want them to be part of your festivities from afar, do your loved ones live far away but you wish they could be close to you? Well, skylight frame is the perfect gift for you. It's a touchscreen digital photo frame your whole family will love. You can upload thousands of photos with your phone and watch them appear in seconds. Setup takes less than 60 seconds. You can invite friends and family to easily share photos via the free Skylight mobile app or email account. You don't even need a subscription. No part of this material may be copied in any form without explicit written permission. You can also add new photos straight from your phone from anywhere. And the touchscreen is a game changer. You can swipe through, tap to see new photos. You can tap on the heart button to send thank you to the sender. And right now, as a special limited time offer for our listeners, you get $20 off your purchase of a skylight frame when you go to skylightframe.com/NFL. That is skylight, just like you see it on your screen. .com/NFL to get $20 off your purchase. Right now at skylightframe.com. $20 off. Heck of a deal for all your last-minute holiday gifts.
By the way, Rachel, who I mentioned earlier, who's a local sports reporter, and she goes to all the games, baseball, Cavs, Browns, and Guardians. She said, tell Jay I introduced myself to him at a Guardians daytime playoff game.
Damn it.
Against Detroit, right by the dugout suites. I work for you. She says,
I remember.
She goes, I work for your boy, Rob Parker.
Yeah, I remember
on Rob
now.
Parker's platform.
All right.
Yeah.
Now I remember.
Yeah.
I knew the name was familiar
There you
I'm
go.
a face person.
Yeah.
If I see the face, I'll
I know.
definitely know. But on
Yes.
the name, for some reason, I was assigning that to someone with the Cavs, and I don't even think they have anybody named Rachel.
I don't know.
But I'm sorry,
I don't know
Rachel.
someone named Rachel.
Rachel was great.
I am
She's awesome.
very sorry.
She's awesome.
Yes, you know what? I do know who she is, and I.
No, she
right,
was
the
not offended
golden-
at all.
Well, I'm embarrassed by it.
No.
So
Golden at
I
bat
got to be
rule.
better.
No, it's all
The
right.
golden
Yeah.
bat rule. This could change baseball as we know it. So the proposal, and this is simply a proposal that's floating around right now, would allow a team one time per game to send anyone up to the plate regardless of where they are in the order. The intent is to get stars more clutch at bats, put them in more prime time. Big moment situation, just like at the end of a basketball game, LeBron's going to have the ball. Well, sometimes you get Austin Hedges up in the bottom of the ninth. Sometimes you get Jose Ramirez. This would allow
Will he
whoever.
ever be used as the golden at bat?
It's not finalized.
Think
how
about
this would
Game 7 of the
necessarily
World
work.
Series. You could have brought in Francisco Lindor
Yes.
for Michael Martinez there.
Now,
At the,
Exactly.
so I sent this article out yesterday. It was in the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah. Yep.
And I sent it around to the group chat.
Yeah.
And I'm glad no one discussed it, and
Yeah.
I'm glad it became a topic. Can I try to guess which way they went?
Yeah,
Because
we
I've
have,
talked
we have,
myself
we have 10
into
minutes
the
and
fact
no
that
super
you would be
chats.
for it and against it, and I've talked myself
Yeah.
into the fact that you would be for it and against it. But I've got to make a guess.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
My guess is going to be because you're dead inside.
Yes.
You're against it,
100%.
and you are for it.
Yes.
Got
Mike's a little strong when I say I'm for it. I'm open-minded,
Open-minded
to it, is
to it.
how I would
Yeah.
say it.
This is
But
the
go ahead.
dumbest thing I've ever
No, I
It's
got to
so
tell
dumb.
you, when I first read it,
Yeah.
this all comes from, by the way, our friends down in Savannah.
Yeah,
the
but
Savannah
this
Bay
is banana ball.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, when I first heard of it, I said, oh, that's novel, and it's fun for them.
Yeah.
Right.
It would really give fans an interest. But after digging into it a little bit and realizing sometimes the traditional ideas are old and stale and need some revitalizing, baseball they've got to do something, guys. The demo is dying, as they say.
That's right.
It is dying. They've got to do something to reinvigorate the game and to bring younger fans to the table. Just for fun, I threw this out to a couple of younger people I know. Do you like this or hate it? Love it, love it, love it, love it. I also threw it out to some of people my age.
Oh, boy, not good.
Oh, my God, don't do it. I'll never watch again.
Oh, I saw Mike Francesa losing his mind about
Did
this.
he really?
Oh,
Okay.
he's like, I'm done with baseball if they do this.
So dumb.
So here's what I've
Yeah,
noticed.
yeah.
What I've noticed is if the younger fans like it, I'm more open to it because they're the ones that we need to come to the game.
That's right.
And it was interesting. I've also thought about my own, I am I used to be. I'm not
Yeah.
anymore. I used to be old, stodgy, old man's traditional. When these changes that they've made recently,
I love them all.
I do too, but I
Yeah.
hated all of them when they were proposed.
Absolutely,
I
same thing.
hated every single one of them. Now,
Yeah.
I do think it's interesting that you use a rule in the regular season that you do not use in the playoffs. I don't love
The
that.
runner at second?
Yeah.
That's dumb. I hate that.
Yeah. Now,
I
wait,
still
you hate it that they don't do it in the playoffs or that they
that
do it
they
in regular
do it at
season?
all.
Okay.
You can't change the rules of the game just because it goes to
Why?
So, well, let me speak to
In
that.
other sports, they do.
I'll tell you why I
college
didn't
football's
like it.
dumb too.
The reason I didn't like it originally was because tradition. You're changing a tenet of the game because now you're going to change the rule in the 10th inning that didn't exist in the 9th inning. I hate that. But then you see all of the data, all of the research. I hated the pitch clock. As a pitcher, I need to work at my speed. I couldn't love the pitch clock any more than
made
I
the
love
game
it.
Pitch
way
clock's
better.
awesome.
It
That's what
has
saved the game.
absolutely revolutionized baseball.
Yeah.
It has
Yeah.
revolutionized
That's
it.
right.
Now, we need young people to come to the sport. We know young people have a shorter attention span.
That's right.
Well, how long is the baseball game going to go? Could go 4 hours.
And that
could go 2 hours.
When I go to a basketball game, I know pretty much within a few minutes exactly how long it's going to be.
100%.
Right?
You do.
And that's an advantage that basketball
so for me,
has.
Jason, I'm trying to convince you on this. The
Good
reason
luck.
I became okay with it if they did that in the playoffs, I would probably boycott the sport. I can't have that in a playoff game. So how can you do that in the regular season? Because you got 162 of them. They're not nearly as important as they are in the postseason. They all count, of course, but my time is important and precious to me, and as it is to young people. So I like the idea of speeding up the game. The idea of this golden at-bat, now you add a new layer of strategy that has never been a part of Major League Baseball before.
Right. Yes.
And a guy like Juan Soto is worth even more money.
That's right.
A guy whose numbers are better in close and late suddenly becomes a commodity.
That's
like
right.
Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez is a great Monday through Friday hitter. But when the lights are on and the money's on the table, he has not been. So a guy like
in the playoffs, he hasn't been.
But that's what I'm talking about.
To this point.
I have two different monies. I have regular season money and I have postseason money.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing that Jose isn't coming up for a big contract renewal. Because to me, Jose Ramirez is one of the best 1 to 162 players in the game today. But that does not translate to October for whatever reason.
Yeah, it
And
has
there's enough body of sample size.
Yeah.
So I love the idea of saying, you know what? Lane Thomas would look good here. And then all the pundits, the fans and the media can chew over, did he use the right guy?
Yeah.
Did he use it in the right spot? Maybe you use it in the 5th inning because you don't know if you're going to be back here again, bases loaded,
That's right.
2 outs.
Jason,
and you got Alston Hedges coming up.
Why do you hate it? I mean, beyond the obvious. You're stuck in your old ways.
I'm fine.
He's dead inside.
Yeah. I just think this is a horrible. First of all, the logistics of it. Okay, Yankees are gonna call up Juan Soto as the golden at bat.
Yeah.
If you're the Guardians and you don't have anybody warming up in the bullpen, now what? Like, does the pitcher have to? You can't change pitchers. You have to constantly be warming guys up in preparation.
No, there's an addendum to the rule. If the pitching team chooses, they get 90 extra seconds, 120 extra seconds, an additional commercial break, whatever they need to get whatever pitcher they want ready. Because you're right. That would be a pop quiz that the other manager is not ready for.
Here's the thing. Jason, that's a bogus reason.
No, it's
a legit.
No,
listen,
you
it's a
don't like
legitimate
it
reason.
because it's too drastic a change to the game.
I don't like it because it's dumb.
But why? Why is it dumb? It's dumb because it's different. And that's how listen. I used to be just like you, old school baseball. I don't want to change.
I was always intrigued by the pitch clock. I never hated it. I always hated. I hated runner on second.
I love runner on second. I think it's great.
I
love all of the changes. I love the bigger bases.
I love the bigger bases
because it created more stolen bases.
Yeah.
I love banning the shift. I loved it.
I do too. Well, I'd
go even further than they have. Because
give them a little, open, not just a line down the middle, but there's a zone. Now you got to change all the fields.
Right now they can stand close to the base. I don't even like that.
I know.
Want them
I don't
further
either.
off.
I don't love that, but it's better than having 2 guys or 3 guys on the right side.
I love baseball, and if there's a change that's going to make the sport more popular or make it better, I'm open-minded to it.
Baseball has a marketing issue. They don't have a game issue. It's a marketing issue.
And
they fixed the game issue with the pitch clock.
And why? And what would help them? What's the problem with marketing baseball? One of the problems is that in basketball and football, their best players are always in the spotlight in the big moments. And in baseball, your best players are only in the spotlight when it's their turn. So this would give an opportunity for every team to put their best player in the spotlight in big moments.
I think it's some pretty big, memorable moments. Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton and Juan Soto had some pretty big moments down the street.
Yes, but now there'd be even more. There'd be another one.
Well, what's interesting about that is they created the moment by what they did, either good or bad. Like, the memorable moments in the playoffs are when the stars do star things.
Right.
And when the stars don't.
That's right.
And what you're going to get is more of those moments. You're going to get, maybe you'll have, it's only going to happen once per game. But what it changed for me, I said, okay, I'm going to put myself in a situation where I'm now watching, and I'm going to say a playoff game. Now, there's all kinds of strategies. Do you use that the first time you get the bases loaded and there's 2 outs and you're at the bottom of the lineup?
Yeah.
Or do you save it for the 9th? Do you, how do you use it? When do you use it? Where do you use it? Which player do you select? Like, there's so many avenues for drama. Here's what baseball needs. More drama. They need it. And this presents an opportunity for them to instill that drama, manufactured or not, into the game. Another big moment. The article used as an example, imagine that Shohei Ohtani just hit a huge home run with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th to tie the game. And coming up the bat for the Dodgers is Shohei Ohtani.
Oh, Jason would lose his mind.
Oh, my God. But you'd watch that at bat just like you
I wouldn't
watch
be able
in the
to,
World
'cause I throw my
Baseball
shoes
Classic.
I also
TV.
think baseball needs more offense. These terribly low batting averages are not good for the game.
Right.
And I want to see more, anything that's going to potentially create more scoring, to me, is good for the sport. Young people want to see scoring. They don't want to see pitchers' duels.
What's crazy,
they don't want,
too-
and part of the problem with baseball right now is there's so much specialization of the pitching that it's hard to get late inning rallies.
It is
because there's so many hard throwing pitchers.
Yeah.
The bullpen has become such a weapon.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you can counteract that a little bit by
yeah.
giving these managers this golden ticket. What's interesting is, so if, let's say Ohtani gets a bases clearing double.
Yeah.
And he's on second.
Well, now you have a ghost runner at second.
No, now you
No,
put a
I
pinch
have-
runner
I have
at
the
second.
fix- I
You
have
put
the
a pinch
fix for
runner.
this.
A ghost runner.
Can I throw out some silly
Ghost
ideas?
man on second. I'm
Mike,
up again.
Mike's got some great ideas.
That's
I have-
basically what we're.
I have some crazy ideas I want to implement, and I'll start with the one that plays right off that. So if that situation were to happen, there's two options.
Yeah.
One, each baseball team has to have someone over 350 pounds that becomes the pinch runner. So if Ohtani comes back
So
up,
I'd be the pinch
Okay, now
runner for
you're
the
going
Guardians.
absurd and clowny.
I'd
these,
be-
yes,
I-
these are all absurd. And
So
Okay,
I'm
okay.
pinch running for the Guardians.
Yes, and think how
Shit, you know what? I got to tell you, I'd watch that. I would
My
never
point.
turn the channel.
my point.
I would never turn the channel.
Or they get to pick someone from the stands. They can pick anyone from the stands that has to become the pinch runner on second. Second option.
What if the other team got to pick?
No, the other team does. The other team
Oh,
picks. Yeah.
They've just got to be. They've got to be 18. That's the only qualification.
So the saying would say the fat lady hasn't sung yet from the fat lady hasn't run yet.
What
It
if
could
what
be-
if what if the opposing team gets to pick for
Yeah,
you?
that's what
Yeah, no,
Mike
that's
said.
what
That's
I'm
what
saying.
opposing team
Yeah,
picks.
you go in the stands and you go, I'll have you.
Yep.
You have
I'll
to
take
run
that
for them.
blind guy over there. Let's go.
Yep, it counts. It would also make the game more fun. You never know if you were going to get picked.
Yeah.
I've already told you guys about my idea to put some body of water in the outfield. It can be as big or little as you want.
Yeah, that
I told
is
you guys
absurd.
that one.
Yeah,
I
there's all
think
kinds of injury risks with that.
It could also make A.J. Lloyd the most valuable left field prospect in the history of America as a elite swimmer and baseball player. I think it'd be fun if you took gloves out of the equation for one inning, so the offense could pick any inning where the defense is just no gloves. 9 fielders, just no gloves. Or on the flip side, you get one inning to use an aluminum bat.
You know what?
Pick it-
Now,
pick
I
whatever
would
you
love
want.
that. I would love that.
I
You'd have
thought-
to put a net in front of the pitcher.
I
though.
thought about
Yeah,
that.
you would, because you could kill him.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge will murder somebody. You
Yeah,
can't put
you
a
would.
metal bat in, but like pick the player with the lowest OPS and they get to use an aluminum
Austin
bat.
Like
Hedges.
Austin
with an
Hedges
aluminum
with
bat.
But it's not
aluminum
going to
bat.
matter because he strikes out. It's got to be someone who's a contact guy.
But it
like
would change
Miles
the-
Straw with a metal bat could do some damage.
We got 30 seconds, two
not
more.
get
Give
crazy.
someone in the infield a knife.
I'd watch
You
all
don't
of
know
this
who it's gonna
stuff.
Someone in
be.
the infield, a
If
knife.
somebody in the infield.
Or you have, you know how they go through 1,000 baseballs
Yeah,
in a game?
this is a good one.
One of the baseballs is just an exploding baseball. It does nothing. It's an automatic out, but you don't know when it's going to come. It could come on a random pitch in the dirt, or it could come on a bases loaded, full count swing. You hit it, it just explodes.
Juan
blue
Soto.
ink, Splat, exactly, but you don't know when it's coming. One of the 1,000 balls they use is just an exploding fake ball. Those are my ways to make baseball more fun.
I'd watch.
We'll see you
Yeah,
on
Channel
WKYC in 10
I'd watch all of that.